Hey everybody, this week on Up Your Alley, we've got two great recommendations. First, Jake's recommendation for me, the album Eat, Skate, Die by band Lemon Boy. And my recommendation for Jake, the animated film War of the Rohirrim from the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings universe. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about me trying to mod video games. Jake's got some new games he's playing. And anything else we're adding to this?
No.
Okay.
Like and subscribe.
I'm going to be distracted by this the whole time. I need to change this Band-Aid again. Hey everybody, welcome to Up Your Alley. My name is Taylor. With me as always is my best friend Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
What'd you do to your little fingers, buddy?
I'll tell you about it. It involves hubris and frugality.
What? With you?
Yes. If you're first time listening to the show, we're two best friends. We recommend things to each other to watch, play, game, or listen to, and then we come back the next week to rate it on a scale of 1 to 3 based on how much it's up our individual alleys. Today, again, we're talking about the album Eat, Skate, Die by Lemon Boy, Seattle-based punk band, and the new animated film War of the Rohirrim, which is a Lord of the Rings film that came out last year, available to stream now on Max. What are you pointing to?
Before we get started, I have a gift for you.
Oh, you do?
Buddy.
Why?
I do. Because you know how you like Liquid Death.
I do love Liquid Death.
Well, guess what? I got a whole butt ton of.
Oh, the little Death Dust.
Yes.
Nice.
That is Mango Chainsaw.
Oh, I love Mango Chainsaw. Have you had this before?
Yes.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm a fan.
I love the Death
I found
Dust.
a deal.
Oh,
And
you
I was
did?
like, I bought 72 boxes
Oh, jeez, that's
for
too
like
many.
$20.
You know why? Because they redid the formula.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. People were complaining that it wasn't electrolyte enough. So you get. Did you see their?
I heard they recently added more hops to the formula.
Exactly. It's that same vibe. So they had a new thing. They just put out. It sold out immediately. I tried to buy it, but Kylie Kelsey, who's a Kelsey, I don't know how she's related to the rest of the Kelseys. She's either Jason Kelsey's wife or she's a sister Kelsey.
Oh, right. Kelsey's.
Yeah. So she did an ad for Liquid Death. She's pregnant, and the whole premise of the ad is she's sitting at a bar with a Liquid Death, and someone comes through like, "Are you drinking?" She's like, "I've had so many of these today." And then it's a mini keg, like the Heineken kegs.
Yeah.
But it's that filled up with Liquid Death water, and it's called Kegs for Pregs. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Just the fact that it's a beverage company run by a marketing genius makes Liquid Death the best company in the world.
wouldn't say that they're a marketing genius. Well, I guess they are.
I mean, they're making money.
We're always talking about
Why
them.
not? I'm always talking about
They
it. I'm
make a
not even
great
getting paid.
product.
They do. Here's the thing. They make a good product.
Yeah.
It's water.
Their tea is like the exact tea that I want to drink.
Yeah, the Sweet Reaper is pretty
Sweet
on
Reaper's
point.
pretty good, but everything else, it's not too sweet. It's not crazy.
It's that agave.
Yeah.
That agave is just the right amount of sweet.
It's perfect.
Well,
Whatever.
see, and that's the thing.
But I got you
but if the marketing was garbage,
Yeah.
you wouldn't try it. Like the marketing gets you to try a
I
beverage.
thought that water in a can was going to be stupid.
Yeah.
And then it was literally Doughboys that I was listening to, and Weiger was like, hey, you put it in a can, it makes you drink it a little slower. I was like, oh.
I was the exact opposite. You put it in a can, like the tall boy cans of water, I'd chug those.
Yeah?
When I was working in a
Oh.
kitchen, I would bring a couple of those and just rip them open and chug them on the line.
Damn.
So much, like, not like shotgun them, but,
Yeah.
it's a wide mouth can, something like that. But it was nice because it, like, stopped right at the time where I stopped, like, drinking. Liquid Death came out. And I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
Because, walk around on the golf course, things like that. And it's a nice can. I don't like plastic bottles. I don't really like drinking out of plastic bottles
right?
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just a great company. I'm all for it. Thank you for the Death Dust.
Absolutely, dude.
I think the Mango Chainsaw will go well with my fake tequila
I think so.
and a
That's
sparkling
weird.
water beverage.
Maybe.
Yeah,
you know
Rich-
what? Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Speaking of mixing drinks,
Okay.
I do want to bring up this because
What?
it is the funniest thing.
Okay. Is it the Lord of the Rings thing?
It's the Lord of the Rings thing.
Do you want to save it?
Sure. Yeah. we
Yeah,
can
let's save it till when we talk about Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely.
Then it kind of fits all together.
All right.
So my fingers.
Yeah.
This happened last night. I told you last night I was
He's
making...
got Band-Aids on his hang loose fingers.
Yeah,
the thumb and the pinky.
It's thumb and pinky. So the frugality
shaka, bra.
and the hubris comes in. I was making pasta carbonara tonight, linguine specifically. And to do that, you have to grate a whole bunch of cheese. You can't just buy pre-shredded cheese because it's
Yeah.
not going to emulsify the same. It's got the little cellulose on the outside. I use Parmigiano Reggiano. People I'm cooking for, they like that better than the traditional Pecorino Romano, which, it's fine. It still tastes pretty good. Anyway, I needed a new...
inside baseball here.
little inside baseball. So anyway, I needed a new microplane.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't have time to order one off Amazon. I'm like, they've got to have one up at Home Goods. So I go up to Home Goods. They don't have a microplane brand microplane, but they have something that looks like a microplane, only it was blue, and I forget the name of it already. It's already in my trash can, jumping ahead in the story. So I buy it, and it's not like a good microplane is just fantastic, especially when you're cutting a hard cheese like Parmigiano Reggiano.
It's a sharp.
Super sharp, but the thing is, it glides.
Yes.
Like when you're grating anything, lemon zest, it's just a fantastic tool to have in your kitchen. This, it doesn't glide as much as it should, and so it was a toss-up between the cheese and the planer, what would give first, because the Parmesan, it's a hard cheese. What happened was the cheese like skipped, like almost like a kickback on a table saw.
Yeah.
And that led to me grating this part of my thumb and this part of my finger. So it's like the worst places to get anything a cut because it's just horrible and everything gets into it. Especially when I was cooking today, you get salt into them and it's just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Microplanes are what you're going to cut your fingers on.
Well, that's the thing. If it was a regular,
if it was a good,
then
you want it sharp because that way it just keeps gliding through.
It's the whole thing. You're more likely to cut yourself on a dull knife.
I have scars on my fingers from dull knives.
Yeah. But the way it looks now, if I took the Band-Aids off, it looks like I got attacked by like a little tiny tiger where it's just like a little claw mark just going down each of my fingers. But it shredded me good.
Yeah,
I was upset with that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear it, buddy.
But I'm going to be looking, and it's an awkward fingers. It is the hang loose fingers. It's thumb pinky. Mm-hmm. Looks like I was doing too much of a shaka bra.
Shaka.
And I sprained myself.
And somebody was like, stop doing that.
Yeah. They tried to shoot off
and they
my
took
shaka
shots
fingers.
at it.
Yep. Oh, well. So what were we going to talk about?
We have stuff.
Video games. Yeah. So I messaged Jake after we recorded. Jake has gotten me more into video games and whatnot, and a big point of contention between Jake and I is every time I try to do something on my computer, I have a Macintosh.
Yeah.
Like I have a MacBook. It's great for me, but what's funny about the gaming community is when you talk to anyone in PC or computer culture, having a Mac is just a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Macs really treat you like you're a toddler who's constantly trying to break your computer, and it won't let you do certain things unless they're okay with it.
Yeah, I don't really touch Macs, so I have no clue.
Yeah, you don't have an iPhone, you don't have anything. See,
yeah.
I got the iPhone, and then just everything works so seamlessly now that it's fine for me, especially for like editing this and like doing Canva and little apps like everything. It's handy. So I have Steam, and I wanted to mod. Stardew Valley was on the spring Steam sale. I think I mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
So I picked that up, and I wanted to do some of the mods on the computer because like there's a mod called Stardew Valley Expanded. It's like the bellwether for Stardew mods. It has a whole bunch of character events.
He got the
special
mod
things
to add big boobs onto all the girls.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the main one. That's the expanded for Stardew Valley.
Good job.
It's one specific thing that was expanded. But no, it adds like storylines, new characters, new areas, yada yada yada.
I like that stuff where it works within the game itself.
Yeah, and it's
just like a DLC that's just passionate fan made.
And since Stardew Valley's not a big corporate game, it's made by one person.
Yeah.
Who owns all the rights to everything about it. He's just kind of letting it go because he's, just letting the community thrive, and he's happy. He's made so much friggin' money off of this game. Yeah. He doesn't care. Local Funk from Balatro kind of does the same thing. There's a bunch of mods you can get for Balatro with different jokers and whatnot.
Most people don't care. They're just happy you're playing their game.
Right. If you're not
There's
Nintendo.
There's a big thing right now.
If you're not Nintendo, you don't care.
Meta, people can search through to see what books Meta took to train their AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And a lot of people are realizing that a lot of people have stolen their books, including Meta. And they're like, if somebody wanted to read my book so bad that they stole it, it's like, that's kind of a compliment. But if Meta's taking it, that's just...
It's different if someone steals it, because they want to read it versus a billion-dollar corporation stealing it to train their robot.
Yeah, if somebody wants to take your game and like just rip it open and spend all of their free time trying to make something else inside of it.
Yeah.
A lot of developers are like,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like have fun. That's really nice of you that you see something in my game that you want to make something else in.
If I was a solo guy like Eric Barone and someone makes this huge expanded mod, which isn't just one person that made the mod, it's a big community effort as well. I'd be like, hey, not only is that awesome, but maybe I'll hire you to come, work for me on the next game.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories is the guy who went and he was doing his own remaster of Resident Evil 4 because he was very upset with the official one. He was hired by Night Dive Studios to help with their restoration efforts in video games.
That's awesome.
I love it.
good
It's one of
stuff.
the greatest stories I've ever heard. If
Yeah.
you played his version of Resident Evil 4, you wouldn't notice a difference. You know, it's for wild weirdos like me, because he would go out to location where they scouted photos and take high-res photos himself to put
Jesus.
them into it. Yeah, that guy was into this.
It's the plot of the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
I remember that when he was like, I gotta make Resident Evil 4 look better.
He was the lead singer of an Iron Dragon tribute band, and then the lead singer of Iron Dragon quit, and so he got hired to be the lead singer of
I
Iron
had
Dragon.
no idea. I remember somebody in high school, it was his favorite movie, and I was like,
You know what? It's from memory. It's not a bad movie. I feel like I had a friend in college that really liked it, and the songs were bad. It was that kind of era where like that and Almost Famous, and almost Josie and the Pussycats too, where they were
Almost
like
Famous and Josie
real
and the
songs from.
Yeah.
I think That Thing You Do kind of started. We digress. So anyway, I'm playing the Stardew Valley, and I'm trying to get the mods to work.
Yeah.
And Macintosh wants nothing to do with the mods.
Yeah,
Every time
it's
you
not
download
user friendly.
well, every time you download something,
yeah.
it's Macintosh just like, you don't want to do this. This could break your computer.
yeah.
Which I don't want to happen, but also all these, YouTube videos are just pretty much like, do this. And I'm like, all right, I've got this figured out. I told Jake I'm going to try to make this work. I got it sort of working once. I sent Jake a picture, except the train was running through my backyard, and I only had half a house, and I couldn't move. So the mod was on my computer, just not
It was
loaded
interacting with each other, which is kind of cool.
poorly.
Yeah.
But still working kinda.
And then you were like, we can work on this when you come over.
Right.
And I was like, that sounds great. It's like, the thing that I do when I'm working with mods is I look up the mod, I Google it, and I just like, I type in the problem that I'm having and the mod name, and then go from there and follow the community, because I'm sure somebody else is having this problem and maybe they've already solved it.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT.
Right. So I was trying to troubleshoot it with ChatGPT, which has been my answer for pretty much anything.
Yes.
And it works on some things.
Yeah, sure, but
Not great on anything.
you still had to go to the community
That's
that I
what
told
happened.
you to go to.
So eventually I was having so much issues, ChatGPT was just like, oh, try this. And then eventually it was getting to the point where it's a loader. It's called Smappy. It's the Stardew mod application, whatever.
Yeah.
It launches all the mods. Macintosh was just like, you didn't download that from the App Store. We don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
We're not letting you run it on our computer.
Sure.
It got to the point where ChatGPT was telling me to like restart my Macintosh in safe mode and then type in this command prompt, which deactivates all the security protocols for your Macintosh.
Oh my gosh.
ChatGPT was trying to get me to like hack
ChatGPT
into
doesn't
my
know what's going on.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
I think it was going
the community.
to the
Yeah, because it was like,
degree. It was just like, here's how you break your computer officially.
Yeah.
Here's how you it
it's
was
like
basically
security's making it so that I can't get it. And then it's like, oh, this is how you
deactivate the
get
security.
It's like this. Yeah, this is how you get around security. It's like, oh, this is how you destroy your security.
Right, exactly. It's like if I said I'm having trouble logging into my bank account. It's like, well, have you tried robbing the bank and just take out the money
take
that
out
way?
Your money.
Yeah. I mean, some of that in there is your money, so you're entitled to go get some. Like, that's ChatGPT's recommendation for
Especially
anything.
something like mods, which is a community-driven
100%,
community,
especially for a game like Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's people that are actively working on this.
It's
thing,
labors of love.
Yes,
and some of these people do have like,
So
you can donate to me if you want
Yes.
to, and it's like, and I did donate to like a couple of the people because it's like
That's wonderful,
a really easy
man.
PayPal link where it's like $3, and I'm like, yeah, man,
good on you, dude.
Thank you for doing that.
That is stand up, and the mod community appreciates you.
I've bought 5 copies of Stardew Valley. If someone takes the time, is it 5? PlayStation, computer now, 2 Switches. I've bought 4 copies of Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And if someone that took time to make a mod that's going to get me reinvigorated into this game that I've already put hundreds of hours in, you get $3. You get $3.
Throw them a coffee.
You get $3. So, and then I went on, like Jake told me to do from the start, to a wiki, which is the Stardew Valley wiki, and it has a certain section that's like modding, and it's modding for Macintosh. It's like, go into your settings and just, you have something called the template, and the template's like your CDOS, it's the black screen.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and you just have to make sure that it says that it's okay for that to do stuff.
Yep.
Click 2 things, and it worked immediately.
It's working with people online. It's so wild because I started to play again Fantasian, which is this turn-based game, which is really cool because they real dioramas and they take pictures and they put 3D characters in it. I like that stuff.
I remember you telling me about it.
I forgot if there was a button to just guard for a turn because there was a big attack coming up.
Like a parry guard.
Yes, just guard so you don't take as much HP hit.
Yeah.
And so I was Googling it, and it took me to Reddit, and the guy who asked it was so funny because he was like, I am just asking if there is a way to guard the things. I know that there is a skill called guard.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a parry ability that I forgot about. And then you would just see people being like, are you stupid? You like, again, I am just wondering if I forgot if there is a button. And I
Reddit's
just
not the
kept
place
reading
to
it.
go.
He did that like half a dozen times. He's like, okay, again, I just want to know if there is a button I forgot.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, there is a guard skill. Did you miss it? And he's like, I am wondering. I was having so much fun just following that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the communities are great.
Communities are wild. That guy knows how to do it.
So I will say there are some certain things that AI is still... They're lacking the it's a cliche.
Invent a new word.
Right.
And then it would be, and then you go, ha ha ha. Don't tell it anything else.
Well, and that's the other
ask it
thing
to help you with weird logic problems. It probably will give you insight at the very least.
Or have you heard the newest series for Behind the Bastards? We're talking about this death cult, the Zizians, which is all based on like cyber rationalism and transhumanism
I
and
know
stuff.
about Zizium.
Yeah. Those people have some ideas.
Yeah, bro,
about stuff.
That story is great.
Yeah.
The ZZY ZZ
Zizian.
Okay,
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. But Behind
yeah.
the Bastards, old recommendation on this computer with Robert Evans, that series about the Zizians and how Harry Potter fan fiction turned into a death cult.
Oh, hell yeah.
God dang it. That's a fun couple hours to listen to.
Wow.
But I will say, and it's a cliche, but AI is still lacking the human touch of like, oh, I'm understanding your problem.
Yeah.
Let me use my knowledge.
I really don't think that ChatGPT is it. And no offense. I am for AI. It's just being put into places where it's not going to be helpful. It's not going to be Jarvis. Jarvis understands stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he can
'Cause
read
it's Paul Bettany.
context.
It's a person reading a script.
He's watching. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't
He's
plug Paul
told-
Bettany in and then say,
they're
hey.
like, holy cow, let's put him in a movie.
Yeah. It wasn't just like, hey, we're going to just make this rope. It would be funny if they redid Iron Man and all of Jarvis's lines were just ChatGPT responding back.
Yeah.
And then that movie is just 2 hours of Tony Stark being like, no, that's not what I meant. I think you're getting this wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, restart prompt.
hold on. Let's start again. But it is good, like, because like running a small business and stuff. Like, I'll meet with some other small business owners, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you got to look at like your KPI and everything." And I'm sitting there like, and then I go to ChatGPT and I'm like, "So what's that mean?" And it's like, "Oh, here's all the stuff you have to do."
I mean, yeah. Instead of using Google for something like that, because Google's trash.
Well,
right
Google
now.
just has a worst AI now.
Yeah.
Which is absurd.
So I can understand the reliance on ChatGPT in a situation like that.
And when I'm making spreadsheets, it's good for, I'm like, I want this formula to go down to here. It's like, oh, here's how you, it's good for like tutoring with programs.
I really enjoy making tables and stuff in Excel. So
I'm still learning
again,
about it.
people, I can see how people don't like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But like when I started working, I made a whole table on all the tickets I've done, what they do, and I was just having the time of my life for like an hour and a half.
I made a master sheet for my costs yesterday, and I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
I could break down everything like that, and you can plug in, and it solves itself.
Pretty great.
I kind of like
manipulating data
Excel.
is kind of fun.
It's a weird OCD thing.
I might start showing you the Excel games, huh?
Dude, speedrunning Excel, I've seen that. My brother-in-law sent me some of that.
Excel games, Excel tournaments.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this made-up country has these mini streetlights.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they give them a wild problem, and they're like, make it work in Excel.
God, that's fun.
Yeah. That stuff is so cool.
Here's the limit of my computer knowledge. I had a question yesterday, and I almost texted it to you.
Huh.
I have my router upstairs that was updating. So I know there's hardware, which is... This phone is hardware.
Yeah, it's got hardware in it. Yeah.
And the program, the iOS running on it, is the software.
Yeah.
What is firmware?
Firmware is kind of like the driver. You can also hear them being called drivers.
Okay.
It's what's helping the hardware talk to the software.
So it's an intermediary.
Yes.
Because my
basically.
router said it was...
You put it into a PCI port. The motherboard is like, what the heck is this thing? The driver's like, hey, it's your buddy 4080 here. He wants to come through, show you real good graphics.
Is that why he's like firmware? Because it talks very in that accent? He's a firm gentleman.
Anybody who drives a big truck talks like that. So
it's fair.
For some reason, this is a truck. And he's like, okay, like, I'm starting to pick up what you're putting down, run through.
Yeah, see, I walked into my room and it was dark, except my router, which is usually dark, had its little icon on, like the T-Mobile light, because it was like, hey, and it just said updating firmware, and I'm like, good. I guess. I don't know what that means.
Mike's makes it more efficient or something.
The internet works, so that's all.
The analogy falls apart because it's not really a drive, more like roads, but then it starts falling apart some more if you look into it more. But it's always a fun thing to
I just didn't know.
doodle on.
So that's where my computer knowledge is.
Yeah.
All right. What else were we going to talk about?
I just got no, that's it.
That's it? All right. Well, let's get into our recs. What do you want?
About games.
Let's talk about Lemon Boy first.
Okay.
Your recommendation for me.
Yeah.
Band, Lemon Boy.
Yeah.
3-piece group out of Seattle.
Yeah.
You met
I met
Lemon
them.
Boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I met Lemon Boy. They were out at MagFest.
So this is
showing off their game.
This is the third recommendation within 8 weeks of people you met at MagFest.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff going on at MagFest.
Blue Shift Big Band, Noodle, and Lemon Boy now.
Well, Noodle was before.
Well, it was still someone you met at MagFest.
Yeah, but I got to watch them at MagFest.
All right, continue with the Lemon Boy.
But it was nice to see them. It was crazy because they were like, yeah, we're a punk rock band and we're showing off our game.
What's the game?
It's called Punk Juice.
Okay.
And it looks pretty cute. It's got, you make your own little character and you try and do a little punk band.
Wish list on Steam?
Wish listed on Steam. It's called
do it.
Punk Juice.
Yeah.
It looks really great. I think people should definitely check it out.
That's fine.
At the very least, it's got a really nice trailer up. But it was nice to talk to them because it felt like talking to punk rock people, you know?
Love punk rock people.
Yeah, they were silly and they're funny. They were...
Yeah. Well, they're kids. They look like they're in their 20s. Yeah.
We were already making jokes and stuff. I was already like vibing. It's like, these people are just
good people. And were they performing music there as well?
No. But they were selling their hats and T-shirts and stuff.
It's a good looking hat.
It's a good looking hat.
It's already worn in a little bit. Did you buy it pre-worn in, or is that just okay?
The scratches I didn't
put
those there.
Otherwise, you just beat the shit out of that hat.
I took it off of a
2 months.
skater boy.
Yeah,
I said, "See you later, boy."
Wasn't good enough for you, huh?
It wasn't good enough for him. It's my hat now. So I started listening to their music, and I was like, "That's exactly the type of style of punk that I enjoy." It is.
It is definitely the type of punk that you enjoy the most. I can tell.
Yes, right.
You
can tell how it's pretty similar to Winona Fighter that you showed me, but this one's just got the guitar and the drums of the punk rock that I enjoy.
Yeah,
you know?
so it's a I noticed that it's got the it's a very Scott Rayner did it a little bit, but really when Travis Barker took over from Blink-182, and there's a lot of Blink-182 vibes in this. One of the songs, "Oh No," has Blink-182 lyrics in it, and it's a very similar setup. So it's a 3-piece band. Yasmin Ashani she does guitar and vocals. Nicole Giusto, sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. She does bass and vocals, and then Ethan Geller plays the drums. So it's a similar thing with the 2 lead singers, one playing guitar and one playing bass, and they kind of alternate between songs who's performing. And I will recommend there's a radio station in Seattle where they're from, KEXP, their YouTube channel. They have a live, well, not live, but it was a recording of Lemon Boy performing pretty much this album in its entirety.
Oh, sick.
And it's on their YouTube channel. It's great.
Oh, sick.
If someone just wants to check them out like that, I definitely see that because you really get a vibe of the band.
That's going to be,
too. Yeah.
That's going to be the best way to check it out.
So that's KEXP's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
If you just type in KEXP YouTube or Lemon Boy on YouTube, it's great. So yeah, I definitely did get a lot of Blink-182 vibes in a good way. I mean, Blink-182 kind of gets... There's a section of punk rock that, starting at the Enema of the State years, really wrote Blink-182 off. Like, Blink-182 and Green Day are 2 bands that I think get written off by a lot of punk purists. Because
it just kind of like went away.
Yeah, you see Green Day won Alternative Artist of the Year?
No, I did not.
My kid loves music award shows. And so she was watching the iHeartRadio Music Awards.
Yeah.
And she was like, just text me the tape, play-by-play pretty much. And she was like, Green Day won Alternative Artist of the Year. And I was like, is the year 1994?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know Green Day put anything out.
No. I guess everybody wants to listen to American Idiot again.
Well, if you wanted to listen to a better one from the George W. Bush era, you can listen to NoFX's War on Errorism, including the song The Idiots Are Taking Over, which is weirdly prescient if people go back and listen to that song, because it talks about pregnant, God-fearing nationalists. And I'm just like, oh, God, Fat Mike's from the future.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. This stuff has been in American history for a while.
I'll tell you this. Sidebar. I thought about making a video. It's in my dossier of videos I want to make for the YouTube channel. And it was just that I think that the people most attuned to the back and forth political volatile climate are people that grew up listening to punk rock, because they never picked sides, because they were always just anti-authority.
Yeah.
So punk people are, when they're like, can you believe the government's doing this? Punk people are like, yeah.
That's all.
100%. And it's like, well, what about the Democrats? They do this. It's like, yeah, man, they suck too.
Yeah.
Like, do you know?
That's the biggest thing, is when I start railing against one side, the other side's like, this side sucks too. Like, yeah, it sucks big time.
Guess what? It's like how they say two things can be right. Two things can also be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird angle where I'm like, I think it's people that listen to punk, that they are weirdly, the people that are in mosh pits punching each other are the most well-adjusted people for dealing with turbulent times.
The more you learn about anarchy, the more you're like, yeah, okay, this stuff makes sense. Because at first I thought it was like, when the dust settles, that's when the best come out. It's like, no, communities just form after a while. And we need a stronger community, smaller community.
And it's the fact that you think anarchy would be like Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
Yeah.
Like,
when I was growing up, I was like, that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to be fine because I'm going to survive.
Sometimes a dude with a mohawk will just pick you up when you're on the ground and be like, hey, man, you okay?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to drink water out of this can because we're sober now?
There's so many people in the pit punching and kicking, but there's so many people around the pit seeing the kid fall down and just running in there and grabbing him right up.
Punk rock's the best.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
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 So, I love Lemon Boy.
I like Lemon Boy a lot, too. Like, this album definitely gets a 3. I wanted to talk about my favorite song on this. So I think from what I could gather, there's not a lot written about Lemon Boy. Is they have a song called Body Horror, which is like
I love that song.
Written from like a female perspective. It's a great song. The song, it's a 9-song album, which it gave me vibes of 2 albums, a little bit of Blink-182's Dude Ranch, Green Day Dookie's on there too, but also weirdly Pinkerton vibes, which we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Last week we talked about Pinkerton. And with those shorter albums from the 90s and the early 2000s, I always kind of liked the last song the most. And this one too, the song's called Puzzle Pieces. It sounds the least like the other songs on the album because it's very melodic. They play kazoos at one point.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They opened that KEXP set with that song.
Oh, man.
Which I was like, that's kind of weird to open, but it reminded me of comedian Bert Kreischer has a new special out, and I was watching an interview with him, and he said something about attention culture that changed the way comedy is set up. Is you used to have a closer, but that's when you had people's attention for an hour. Now you have people's attention for 5 minutes. So when comedians are making specials now, what was their closer goes first. So I was like, it was kind of weird to see that also transition to a Lemon Boy doing a performance for YouTube. Yeah. Like, oh, we got to put the closer first, so we hook people in. And I was like, oh, that's kind of awesome. And I'm a sucker for a female singer playing the bass.
Yeah.
That's just always fun. Ever since Pixies, that's been a good idea.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Kim, I can't even remember her last name.
Deal.
Huh?
Kim Deal.
Kim Deal.
Yeah.
Love her. Brainers is great.
Yeah. And then also the song Oh No. That's the one where they sing Blink-182 lyrics, so obviously it's a thing. But they have what you were talking about. It's that Travis Barker bass drum where it comes in on the it's like bum 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 bum.
Careful now.
Yeah. It's like 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4. Like that, just that driving bass or on the toms.
Feels great.
It's just, it gets you going. Like great music for the car, great music for walking
skate
around.
Music, I'm sure.
It is skate punk.
Yeah.
Like it's got a, I would say compared
SoCal
to
vibes.
They're from Seattle, so it's little more
NorCal.
A little grungier, like we talked about. Who's fuck? You recommended them. They're from
Bush.
Yes, it was Bush. The band and George W. You just recommended completely.
Just Bush.
In general.
The downstairs.
No, you fucking not
Geese?
No, not Times New Viking is the other band. I'm blanking on their name.
Built to Spill?
Built to Spill,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, there you go.
That kind of Pacific Northwest DIY vibe that really came out of grunge from that area too.
Okay,
and
sure.
Grunge kind of went into, and Rancid, they have a song about Olympia. That whole thing that goes down to the Bay Area. That biggest kind of vibe.
The biggest thing that I'm pulling from Lemon Boy is like they're trying new stuff. They're trying to make a video game.
For sure.
That's amazing.
Why the fuck wouldn't you?
They're just like trying to get your attention.
7-Up did it.
Being like, yeah, right. Hey, if Cool Spot could do it, so can I.
Shout out Cool Spot.
Shout out Chester Cheetah. He tried. Yeah, he had an SNES game.
I don't recall that.
It's bad.
Probably.
But like them just being out there and just completely different ways.
I find that come out to a gaming festival in Maryland. Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Showing up at MagFest and just like having a nice little spot set up where you just chill out and just have a great conversation with them. It was I was like, this is good. Like they're working, and I always appreciate a good jive when you're doing something for your music.
I will say the music definitely has more. The reason I can tell you like this more than you like Winona Fighter is it's definitely. I don't mean this as any way, shape, or form of derision, but it's got more of a DIY feel to it.
Yes,
it definitely has. It's. I won't say it's less produced. It's not underproduced. It's produced the exact
it's
right
the way
amount.
where it's like, it's like, okay, that's good.
Right.
Like we can move on.
Right.
There's plenty of times when I'm doing something and I feel myself being more meticulous about it, and it might be better, but I'm wasting 2 hours on something that only took me a half hour to actually do the bulk of it, and I just go, fuck it, it's punk rock, and I just pushed away.
I still haven't released my video about OK Go because I keep futzing with it. And I'm like, OK Go is not relevant really when I wanted to make this video. They're going to be less relevant whenever I decide to put it up. It's definitely not the algorithm.
So that's the sound that I like. Times New Viking is really good at that sound, where you could tell that they're extremely talented and they get the sound that they want and they're like, push it out, punk rock. And that's...
But I didn't want that to come off as like a negative thing, like, it doesn't sound like it's produced properly. It's like, no, that was the point.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah, there's like not a lot of time spent in the studio. That still sounds like an insult.
I don't want it to come off as a negative.
It's not an insult at all. It's stuff that I love. I think I cherish it.
Clerks looks like shit. One of my favorite movies ever made.
I watched this movie called Samurai Chicks. Yes.
That sounds like something you would have a fever dream about.
And I thought it was going to be one of these sexy movies, but it wasn't. It was really weird.
Bummer.
For a movie that started with one of the girls ripping off her boobs, showing that she has actually fake breasts and used them as a smoke bomb to escape, I thought it was going to be a movie like that. But then
Wait.
Then it gets weird.
When you say... Okay.
All right?
No.
So the biggest thing...
Stop talking for 1 second. You said she removes her breast and used it as a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
And you said, I thought it was going to be a movie like that.
Yes.
Like that's a common trope.
Yes. Well, when somebody rips off their boob and then it's a smoke bomb, you're like, oh, I get the tone.
Has that but then you said then it got weird.
And then it got weird.
That's weird.
It's already weird, but then it decided, hey, we're weird. And it's like, but we're also like kind of weird. It's like, okay. It's got great comedy.
I just got to trust your judgment on this.
The point is, it's shot on like a handheld. It came out in like 2004.
One of those flippy mini cameras.
Yeah, one of those mini DVD cameras. It looks terrible. Yeah. And I'm sure that's the point of the movie.
Exactly.
I walked away going, I love this movie. I don't think I could recommend this to anybody.
Right. People's Joker, meant to look like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a Hollywood film.
No, it doesn't.
Not everything has to.
But it's great. It goes for its own aesthetic and it nails it.
Yeah. And so, I would definitely say Lemon Boys
like this. We turned it around, boy. We turned it around. We made it a compliment.
I don't want that to sound like I'm being negative.
Yeah.
Because I'm really not.
This is actually...
I have very little...
parentheses complimentary.
Yeah. I have very little negative to say about this band. Sometimes the leveling wasn't to my perfect liking, a little too guitar heavy, but that's just me.
Yeah, sure.
Like I like vocals.
Yeah, different strokes, different folks.
So my favorite punk band is NoFX. They're hitting you with like 3-part harmonies and shit like that. That's what I love. Speed punk with weird harmonies.
Sure,
go for it all day. And this has some good harmonies in it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely get a 3. Check them out. I highly recommend going to that KEPX or KEXP. I wrote it down. KEXP.
Yeah.
KEXP Seattle YouTube thing and watching it's a short album. It's like 40 minutes long.
Congratulations, man. This is the longest we talked about a band, I think.
Yeah.
On this show.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations,
It's worth the time.
We're getting better at talking about it.
Here's the thing. I think when music is good, because we have this habit of doing music, like you'll do a music and then I'll do a music in retaliation.
Yeah.
Not negative retaliation.
Yes.
But like this made me think of this.
Yes.
So I do that. And then we have more to talk about on the second thing always. Like I had more to talk about.
Yeah.
Because we have Winona Fighter as a reference.
This is the most up your alley type thing, too, where you're like, check out Winona Fighter. And I'm like, holy crap, I like this. Check out Lemon Boy. You know?
That was I like that, too. I never would have found Lemon Boy. You never would have found Winona Fighter.
Yeah.
Also, 2 great band names.
Lemon Boy is really good.
Winona Fighter's pretty great. But also, I think all of the bands that we did were puns of some sort.
Times New Viking.
Yeah. Well, Hail Caesar's not a pun. And then we had the band Rectum.
Oh, our bands. Yeah. Rectum. Yeah. That was a good one.
That was a good one. I was in a band in high school called the Missing Links, but it was like a wild cat got out. He was a Missing Lynx.
L-Y-N-X.
Yeah. Not great.
I think it's a you thing that you like these pun names for bands.
Yeah. My new band name, if I ever start one again, is going to be Spam Likely. Because that's what pops up on phones.
Blake Lively?
No, Spam Likely. Like Spam Likely or Spam Risk.
Spam Risk is
Spam
good.
Risk is good because that pops up on your phone all the time.
Yeah.
Like if
that's
not
free
already,
advertising.
If that's not already a band name, it should be.
Man.
It's like how Bare Naked Ladies got their name because people would think that's at the bar.
Yeah.
And Spam Risk on your phone, it's like, what's this? It's Spam Risk.
Damn.
Don't have any songs, don't have any musical ability to speak of, really, but think it'd be a great band name.
That is a good
all right,
band name.
Speaking of awesome things, let's talk about the 2024 film War of the Rohirrim.
Yow.
So this is, I should probably pull up the director's name. I forgot to write that down. So this is technically set in the
cinematic universe.
Not the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings verse, which is separate from the Amazon Lord of the Rings verse. Because to my knowledge, and I'm probably getting this a little bit confused, is Peter Jackson and New Line have the rights to the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And anything in the Lord of the Rings, which is why we talked about that Hunt for Gollum thing, because that's a paragraph in the Fellowship of the Ring, and they're like, we got this. Amazon has the right to anything outside of the Lord of the Rings that's not technically written about in the appendices of the Lord of the Rings either. Mm-hmm. Which is why in the the Rings of Power series, they had to change some stuff. And it's just a weird, and I mean, I like Rings of Power enough. It's great in parts.
Yeah.
I really prefer the Peter Jackson universe just because it's what I grew up with.
Those 3 movies are fantastic.
And then they have 3 movies that aren't great. And then they have this, which is good. I think this is better than the Hobbit movies.
I didn't finish the Hobbit movies. I watched the first one, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. So this is better.
Yeah. I would say, this is better. Absolutely.
So it's done in an anime style, which is what I thought you liked. The director is Kenji Kamiyama.
Yeah.
And I watched some behind the scenes stuff. It was great because he was meeting with the producers from Peter Jackson's company and the writers for that, and they had a translator. Like, this guy's just straight up, Japanese anime guy.
Yeah.
And Philippa Boyens, who was a producer on this, and she helped with the story of this. Her daughter actually did the screenplay, Phoebe Gittins. A little bit of a Nepo baby thing. But also, that kid grew up with her mom being obsessed with Lord of the Rings for...
Oh, I know just the person who writes.
Well, I'm just saying, because when Philippa Boyens was in Lord of the Rings, like, they started production on that with Peter Jackson in like 1997. Mm-hmm. And then she was there. She's still there working for Lord of the Rings stuff. So that's been your mom's whole career. So this kid's versed in Lord of the Rings, and she gets the tone. So it's set 200 years before Fellowship of the Ring, about there. And it starts with Miranda Otto, who played Éowyn, doing the voiceover instead of Cate Blanchett's Galadriel doing the opening narration, which I thought was a nice touch. It's set in Rohan, War of the Rohirrim.
There are no elves in this.
There are no elves. It's great. It's great. There's 2 orcs.
There's no dwarves.
There's 2 orcs and a troll. This is a story about men, which is what they kind of wanted to do. There's briefly a
story about women.
Right. Well, men, the race of men.
The race of women.
Yeah.
Spelled with a Y.
Whatever you want to do. So this is taken from the appendices where I actually had to look it up because I was like, I read the appendices once when I was in high school. I'm like, I'm going to read this whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's a page and a half, and it's just basically saying that the plot of this movie is Helm Hammerhand was the king of Rohan, and this guy came up to him and was like, "Hey, I want your daughter to marry my son."
Yeah.
And Helm Hammerhand's like, "No."
Yeah.
And then he punched him and killed him.
Yeah.
He was the original One Punch Man.
Yeah.
And he punched them, and they're like, "We're gonna call you Helm Hammerhand because you got that ham like a hammer." And then the guy that he killed's son comes back. His name's Wolf, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And then they have to go to the Hornburg. They retreat there, which is known by people that have seen the Two Towers. It's Helm's Deep.
Perhaps you heard of it.
Yeah, named after Helm Hammerhand. This is a story of how it got. It's mostly set there. So what Philippa Boylan and her daughter came up with was they mention in the appendices that obviously Helm had a daughter. She gets no name. The sons have a name. Yeah. It tells how the sons die. It tells how Helm dies. Spoiler alert. And it tells how this little conflict takes place over the course of a winter, essentially. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we don't know about the daughter. Like, we know she exists. We don't have a name or anything. Yeah. So that's the jumping off point for this story. I thought it was great in contrast to the Hunt for Gollum. We're like, here's a very boring paragraph. Let's branch that out. It's like, no, there's a story here. Like, there's an hour and a half story that Tolkien, it's written in the appendices. So it's a Cliff Notes version of these are the things that happen. Because if people don't know, the whole basic conceit of Lord of the Rings was it's kind of like Mormonism, where Tolkien found these books and he translated them from the Middle Earth languages, because he was trying to create a mythology. That was like his little conceit, is he found There and Back Again and then translated it from the Elvish, and then he wrote these appendices. So it's supposed to be like a scholarly
I didn't
text.
know it was like that. Huh.
It's kind of like a cute thing he said in interviews, like towards the end of his life.
It's like Cervantes being like, I got this story from prison. I was actually in prison with Don Quixote.
Yeah, fun stuff like that. Or saying, I actually went down to hell, and I'm going to tell you about the Inferno. It sucks. So taking that as a jumping off point, I think this is great. I think the Rohan stuff I've always loved. Jake and I talked about before we started recording. Two Towers is my favorite one of those movies.
Yeah, probably mine too. Very rare that a trilogy, the middle one is the best one.
Is it rare?
Yeah.
No.
Rarer than the first or the third one being the best one.
Star Wars is the best, or Empire Strikes Back is the best.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's actually more common that the second one is the best one.
No.
That's what I meant.
Let me do some math.
That's what I meant. It's rare that the first or third one are
Captain
the best
America,
ones.
The second one's the best.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the second one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my bad. I got my words mixed up.
I'm not going to hold anything. Last Jedi's better. My favorite out of the new ones, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Regardless, I think this sets that tone really well. I think the anime art style is really cool, and I have some notes about how they animated it. Voice acting, I think the most notable voice actor in this is Brian Cox, doing the voice of Helm Hammerhand.
Yeah.
He's just got that voice. I can't not picture him as either the chief from Super Troopers or the dad from Succession. But what was weird is I was watching this on Amazon Prime, and since I downgraded to the thing with ads, it went straight from him standing outside of the Hornburg, screaming at Wolf to like come get me, yada yada yada. Like he's gonna rip people's heads off, to a McDonald's advertisement where he's also doing the voice. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, Brian Cox, that voice is great, but
he's busy in that voice acting booth, man.
I mean, if you can get the gig, go for it. Like that's fantastic. We're not even getting paid to talk into microphones.
Get your bag.
So yeah, I thought it was good. I wanted you to talk about it. I know you've got a Lord of the Rings event coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just broad strokes, what'd you think of this?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was anything spectacular.
No.
Like you said, it's better than the Hobbit trilogy.
Nice. It was just a nice thing. I was like, I'll see one of these a year.
I was like, this is like, I wasn't vibing with it when I first started watching it.
Because of the strong female characters that aren't ripping off their breasts and using them as smoke bombs?
I wish
Would you like it better if Hera ripped off a breast and used it as a smoke bomb?
If Boromir's not in your movie, a character should at least bring it up every once in a while. Be like, hey, where's Boromir in all this?
You guys seen him?
Yeah. You guys miss Boromir like I do?
He wasn't born yet.
I think I'm going to give birth to somebody named Boromir. That could have been a scene. You could have done that scene.
Legolas would have been around.
You could have had a scene where you'd be like, I think I'm going to name my kid's kid Boromir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think Denethor would have been. Let me check the appendices. Go on. I'm going to read the appendices.
I wasn't getting into it until they actually did the flashback, So, because there's a whole part where they have the banquets, they have the call out between Helm Hammerhand and
Freka.
Gondor dude.
No, he's not. He's a
Freka.
He's a Dunderling.
Dunderling.
He's not from Gondor.
I'm such an idiot.
Yeah, he's a man of the Eastmark.
But she goes out to her little lookout spot from her room, and she has a flashback to when she was a kid with Wolf, and they were fighting and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm actually getting interested in these people. Mm-hmm. And then I was hoping that things would have kicked off in a different way, but it didn't. It stayed pretty true to just like, you broke my heart. Now I'm going to kill everybody. And then he does that.
Yeah.
It's so funny when Helm Hammerhand just punches Freka and he dies.
He's One Punch Man.
He just punched him. And then he was like, get up. Get up. And then Wolf was like, he's dead. He's like, you all saw it.
I only punched him once.
I only hit him once. You definitely saw it.
Definitely saw like Brian Cox like try to win at a bar argument. He's like, you saw him come at me.
Yeah, he's like, you saw him. He was hitting me.
But yeah, I think the story's nice. I think the animation's
great.
Great.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So obviously it takes a lot of influence from Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, it felt like Princess Mononoke a lot. It felt like Nausicaa a little bit.
So there's a scene where there's an Oliphant that's gone rabid. Yeah. Because
that's when I thought it was going to go Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, the Easterlings
I thought we were going to worried about this dredge that was coming up.
Yeah.
I was expecting that would have been the movie. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's kind of cool. Mm-mm. And then the octopus comes out. Octorok makes an appearance.
It's a watcher in the water.
It's from Legend of Zelda.
A little bit. That's Zelda vibe.
Octorok comes out. And eats a elephant.
Oliphant.
And shut up. And it was
first of all, those Oliphants fucking rule.
And I was like, okay, so this is what the movie's going to be.
Yeah.
It was like, no. We're sticking with the broken heart guy. Yeah. That guy's really upset that he didn't get some marriage out of this.
Right. So all that stuff about Harrow is added in, which I kind of like because it does kind of play into...
I like the Shield Maiden stuff a whole lot.
The Shield Maiden stuff's great. So all of that plays into, like, this was how this story would be told in Rohan. Like, the whole thing of this is how Éowyn tells the story. Because she's from Rohan. She knows about the Shield Maidens, obviously. She kills the Lord of the Nazgul because no man can kill him, and she is no man.
Yeah.
So this is the way. It's a great movie.
So good.
These movies rule. These movies rule.
Good.
So the kind of thing that they were going for in the behind the scenes that I watched is like, this story would obviously be more important to Rohan, all of these little things, whereas in what's written by the Hobbits and the Gondorians, it's just a page and a half in the back of the appendices. And they're like, oh yeah, there was this thing with Helm, and like some guy wanted to marry his daughter, and he's like, no, and he punched him, and then they hauled up in this place for a winter. And I don't know. Things worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I kind of like that aspect of...
Sure. This was a better story to elaborate on rather than Strider going out and getting Gollum.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It kept my attention the whole time, but you're going up against, Lord of the Rings stuff. So... I want like masterpiece all the time, and the masterpiece in this comes from the art and animation.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Like it's beautiful. The settings look amazing, and they're 3D, and it doesn't feel like that. It's pretty amazing.
It was actually, from what I gathered, it was modeled in Unreal Engine.
Sure,
like the 3D stuff, and then it was hand drawn.
Oh,
like with that as the reference.
Okay.
So it was hand. I forget the director spoke about this, and I should have written it down. But the art style that's hand drawn anime has its own special name, and that's what this is. Like, so it's hand drawn shit.
It looks great.
Looks great. But it's kind of like what we talked about with Lemon Boy. It doesn't look like modern animation, but it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to look more like the early Miyazaki stuff.
Yeah.
And there are, like, in the action scenes, there are... it's not a frame drop. I guess technically it is, but it's meant to look like that style of animation.
It looks like instead of just... Yeah, it looks like, shot by shot type thing rather than like cell animations or anything.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, I have.
And the story keeps a good pace throughout the whole
it's a good clip.
dang thing.
Keeps you going. It's a story being told by Eowyn. That's the frame of reference for it.
I guess I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I do watch it once a year.
What are you doing with a drink? You said you couldn't get through laughing.
So
do you want me to go through my fun facts before you tell this story?
So we're doing the Lord of the Rings marathon coming up soon. And we were like, something fun would be
a themed beverage for the watch party.
Beverage for the party. And I was like, what type of themed beverages there are? There's like draft and stuff. One that we really like is called Sting, which is like you make a lemonade and vodka and you add blue curacao.
Yeah. So it glows like Frodo's.
When thirst is near.
Clever.
And I was like, that's so sweet.
Could just use Baja Blast too.
The first one that I saw was the name of it. You have to tell me if it's a pun or something. But the one...
Why is this making you so...
The highest upvoted thing, the first thing that you see...
This is on Ranker?
No, this was on Reddit.
Okay.
And he was like, I've done a couple of parties with these. This is one that I've done.
Fucking Reddit.
And he says, speak friend and enter melon balls.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is that?
Speak friend and enter. That's to get through the gates of Durin at the Mines of Moria. And the word is melon, Mellon, and that's the Elvish word for friend.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I thought he was just tagging melon balls at the end of it.
Speak friend and enter. Melon balls.
Yeah, because we were like...
No, melon.
You could have done that with anything. You could have been like, and my axe, Coors Light.
That's funny. But no, melon.
It is melon.
Yeah,
right.
Melon. It's a word to enter through the doors of Durin.
Definitely thought there was an R in that friend word.
No, melon.
It's melon.
Mellon.
That's so much better, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But I was laughing so hard because I forgot the word for friend.
That's what it was. Yeah,
I mean, speak friend and enter melon balls. Yeah. we were just we were just doing that all day. We were like, they've taken the hobbits to Jaeger tile. It's a shot of Jaeger. We were having the time of our lives just writing up these things.
You shall not pass Irish car bomb. What? What does that have to do with anything?
I was having so much fun doing that.
No. That's great.
Oh my gosh, I got a headache again.
Okay.
I laughed so much.
I'm glad I could clear that up for you a little bit.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I can't bring it. Yeah, I can't just bring this out and like laugh at nerds because I'm probably in the wrong here.
No, you didn't get the reference, but it's very funny that you just took it the wrong way.
To where, I was like, this guy's not an idiot. It's like, there's no way he's an idiot.
I don't think the person...
But that name is so crazy.
Yeah. They could just call it melon balls.
Yeah, but then everybody else would... You see it spelled out, you're like, melon balls.
And also, were you just also like, melon doesn't have two L's in it, dummy?
Yeah. Dude. Holy cow.
I can understand that's funny.
Oh, man.
Fun facts, there are two orcs in this. Did you catch the voices?
Zach.
Nope.
Zachary Levi.
No, it was Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, also Merry and Pippin.
Oh.
They did the voices for it.
I love them.
Only two members of this fellowship that returned. Also, like we said, Miranda Otto as Eowyn. And then at the end, Christopher Lee returns as Saruman.
How's that? He's
so
dead.
They were very specific about this. That was recording that he did for the films used with permission by his family.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
They had it's just one line at the end.
I definitely thought it was AI fuckery that was happening.
No. They specifically said they didn't want to do that. They were it's just extra recording they had because they have billions of hours of stuff.
Sure.
So at the end of it, I got to get this name right. So I love
Christopher Lee.
I love pulling out no.
Your book is waterlogged.
It's been through some moves.
Damn.
I have
through the swamp?
I use this as a marker for where I stopped reading it last.
He's pulled out a pressed flower.
It is a pressed flower.
Yeah.
So a girl gave me that flower. I still got it. It was in 11? No, it was like 10th grade.
I don't know.
Regardless. So after all this, Helm's nephew takes over, Freylof, and then there's a scene in this in Isengard when the Dundelings are in Isengard. Mm-hmm. What happened with Isengard was Isengard was just a tower that was used as a watch post for Gondor. And then Gondor abandoned it, and they just locked it, and they kept the key. And so Saruman wasn't there. I talked to someone who saw this movie and was like, why wasn't Saruman pissed off at all these people camping? I was like, no, Saruman wasn't there yet. So Saruman, when he goes to the coronation afterwards, and he's just like, hey, I'm a wizard. He talks to Gondor, and Gondor's like, hey, you want a key to that big fucking tower over there? Like, you want to set up shop there? Don't do anything bad. There's like Uruk-hai buried underneath it. Don't go digging for him in like 200 years. And Saruman's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No, it's just a nice tower.
Yeah. But I like at the end of this movie how Hera goes off with her shield maiden nurse lady. And you're like, oh, we're going to go find someone. He has many names, but everyone calls him Gandalf. I'm like, yeah. Gandalf.
The Grand Elf himself.
Well, yeah, which is, I talked about this at the end of Rings of Power, where they're like, oh, they say he's a grand elf.
Yeah.
He's like, Gandalf. And I was like, I was so fucking mad about that in Rings of Power. But this, I was just like, perfect. Perfect. You didn't step on the toes of the original 3 movies, which is something that pisses nerds off. You didn't change anything from the books, which is something that pisses nerds off. This thread the needle so perfectly, I think, where they're just like, we want to tell a cool story. I like the...
We have to take our own liberties with a lot of it.
Took some liberties, but it's because she never has a name in the text. So you can't say Hera wouldn't have done that. It's like, no, but is it likely that they wouldn't have written about the daughter that did all this cool shit because 2 women talk to each other never in any of these stories? But yeah, I just thought it was great. I had a lot. You said what? A 2 for you?
Yeah, it's a 2. Absolutely.
It's a hard 3 for me.
Good.
If they did something like this where they took if they treated it like the Animatrix, took a story out of the appendices, and you're like, this is kind of cool. Make that into a movie every year, I'd go see it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just fun. So yeah, War of the Rohirrim. It's available to stream now on Max. Do I have any other fun facts? I wrote, horses are crazy for letting us ride them.
Were you high?
No. I have a fear of horses. I don't like them. Like, I think they're fun to pet and everything like that. But when I see people just like jump up on a horse, I'm just like, who was the first person to do that? Because like, here's the thing. Not every animal will let you ride them.
Horses don't really want you to ride them.
But horses seem to be okay with it for some reason.
They get used to it, and they understand
They're so much bigger than us.
But
they could toss us off and trample us to death whenever they want to with their big old hooves.
They like you, or they're afraid of you. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
You know, but apparently it's a big thing where if you're riding a horse and it doesn't want you, he'll walk up to trees that have low-hanging branches and
just knock you off.
Just be like, yeah, just...
that happens to me in Red Dead Redemption all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Horses are crazy for letting us ride them.
Well, I would say it was a very good movie. It was very enjoyable, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's badass. And the score still slaps. Oh, it was the new music for this was a guy who was when you talk about like elevating people, like expanded universe or modded stuff, the guy who did the music for this was a music supervisor for Howard Shore. He was like Howard Shore's assistant for the original films. So he's a composer now. And he's like, he's doing this new score, the new music for this based on Howard Shore's stuff.
Not bad, man.
Kind of dope, yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do so upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Let's figure out what we're going to be talking about next week. Jake, what you got for me? Or you want me to go first?
I got...
You got your backpack here. You got a big reveal again?
No, not really.
We're going to have to eat something shitty again? Last time you brought accoutrements?
Wah. You liked it.
No, it's... We
didn't even get to the center of it, which is what I was hoping for.
Don't care.
Because apparently that's the good stuff.
Pass.
Apparently it tastes like camel piss.
Not okay. That's the good stuff.
That's interesting.
We have weird qualifiers this whole episode.
We watched... You don't even know me, buddy. I got you to watch a lot of David Lynch movies.
You did.
David Lynch means a lot to me.
One movie and one show.
Yeah. And, I thought I got you to watch 2 movies.
The guy from David Lynch was in a TV show that I'm watching now. The big, tall, giant guy.
Yeah, the giant?
Yeah, that's in all of David Lynch's stuff.
That guy lost his house in the LA fires, man.
Yeah. He was in my new background show. Remember when I watched Billions in the background for like a week or two?
Yeah.
Now
you love Billions.
I do love Billions. Now it's Blacklist.
Now you're going to love Suits.
Blacklist.
Yeah.
I'm on Blacklist. Have you watched Blacklist?
No.
So Blacklist, James Spader is Raymond Red Rennington. It's all available on Netflix. He's known as the concierge of crime, and he turns himself in to work for the FBI, and he's got a blacklist of really bad criminals, and he shows the FBI like how to do it, and he's great. James Spader's a cool guy.
There's
so many great... Alan Alda's in some episodes. Fucking Hellboy, Ron Perlman's in some episodes.
Yeah.
Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things when he's younger is like in a cult. It's fun. Blacklist on Netflix. Jake's going to watch all 10 seasons next week.
So, David Lynch was a very formative director
for
me, but there was another one that I haven't showed you any of his movies yet. I don't think you've seen any of them. We haven't really talked about him. And that is the Baltimore favorite, John Waters.
John Waters.
Yes.
Love John Waters.
So this movie, I watched it when I was very young. It's called Crybaby.
So this is a film that I've heard of, never seen.
It's a musical.
Yeah.
It's very funny. It's very weird, but you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, I get where a lot of Jacob's mannerisms come from.
I've seen Hairspray.
Hairspray's great.
So this has
Hairspray.
Ricky Lake in it, who was also in Hairspray.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is the lead in this.
He's the titular Crybaby.
What year was this for Johnny Depp?
1990.
Okay, so this is after his first big break was in the music video for Into the Great Wide Open by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I love that song.
It's a great video, too. Yeah, I've never seen this.
It's I love it. It's wonderful.
Tracy Lords. Is that a pornography star?
Huh?
Tracy Lords.
What about her?
Is she a pornography star?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, no. She was in Zack and Miri Make a Porno as a pornography star. That's what I'm thinking about.
Like, a lot of stuff.
Why am I associating her face with porn? It's like, it's because Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
So a lot of stuff about me is going to make sense when you watch John Waters movies.
Iggy Pop's in this?
Yep.
Yeah, so I know a bit about John Waters. I know that
he's a queer icon. He's funny. He's very gross sometimes.
He's got a little mustache.
He's got a tiny little mustache, and he's
Lonely Island made a song about him.
He's got another movie that he's trying to get made, but nobody wants to make it, and it's very sad.
That seems weird.
He's got Aubrey Plaza on board to star.
I feel like she could do whatever she wants.
She should be allowed in a John Waters
especially
movie.
after being in Megalopolis.
And since David Lynch went down, he's still wanting to make movies, but not getting the opportunity. I hope the same thing doesn't happen to John Waters because he's amazing. And Crybaby, I think, is a very approachable film of his.
All right. I'm interested.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay. I will watch Crybaby. I have a YouTube guide for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So over the first 100 episodes, I think we broke it down, and Jake recommended YouTube for me. Jake's very good at finding YouTube channels for me that I hadn't heard of, but ended up really liking. Case in point that we did with Pat Finnerty, with anything else. So this guy came up in my feed. Hadn't heard of him before. He put out a video last week. It's got over 2 million views now, so it's kind of like a jumping off point for him. One of the first recommendations I had that was a big swing, probably the first big swing and miss of this podcast, besides, was when Jake recommended me Twin Peaks, which was a swing and a miss, and I recommended Jake The Big Short, which was a big swing and a miss. Like, equally from both of us, we disliked that thing as much as the other person liked that thing. So this is a guy named Ben Jordan, who's Ben Jordan, 2 N's in Ben at the end.
3 N's total.
Check. So he is a musician and audio engineer by trade, but he's started making videos, and he just kind of breaks things down in the tech world, and then also kind of into politics, and now he kind of does economics as well. Similar in the take of Pat Finnerty, got kind of vibes, except he's not being funny.
Yeah.
But he's got a good crew behind him for doing things. So he has his one that's getting very popular now. It's basically like an expanded version of The Big Short, but done in a YouTube thing, and it's past The Big Short. Obviously, it goes past 2008. It's called something that you will probably get on board with. The title of the video is "You Are Witnessing the Death of Capitalism." It's 45 minutes long, but I also say you should check around his channel. He's got a great video.
I have seen this pop up in my algorithm.
You know what? A lot of times when you recommend something for me, like when you recommended the Star Wars Galactic Space Cruiser stuff, like I'll have seen that in my feed, but just didn't click on it. Another great thing about this podcast, it's a forced click.
Yeah.
He has a video about AI bands that's really good, and how using AI to detect if a band is AI. He has one about bots on Twitter and how they came to power and why they're there.
Yeah.
He has a great one about, have you heard about the 432 hertz thing?
No.
432 hertz, if you tune A4 to 432 hertz, there's this weird hippie movement that thinks that that's the resonating frequency of the earth, and it's supposed to be good for you. And Joseph Goebbels changed music, so it had to resonate at 440 hertz as the standard, because fascism uses that tone to confuse people's minds and make them angry. And if we all just toned down by a semitone, the world would be back in peace and harmony. People believe this. He made a great video about it.
That's interesting as hell.
But his videos are great. They're really well made, and I really think you'll like this.
Okay.
You Are Witnessing the Death of Capitalism, because he does talk about The Big Short, but it's not in here's Margot Robbie in a bathtub way to talk about it.
Okay,
and he's just very funny, and he comes at it from a good angle where it's like,
I'm not going to hate him.
no, it's like Dan Olson talking about flat Earth and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not the person who should be talking about this, but here's how I understand it, and here's how he's making the other people in the world understand.
Yeah.
Which I think is the best thing about YouTube and
Absolutely.
the internet in general.
My favorite thing.
You get to see through someone else's eyes for a little bit.
Yeah.
So Jake's going to watch Ben Jordan, 2 Ends, You Are Witnessing the Death of Capitalism, and puts around his YouTube channel if you got time. You'll like it. And I'm going to watch Crybaby. Jake, thanks to Brother Bill for letting us use their stuff for the theme song. Like, subscribe. Jake, thanks for coming over. Love you, buddy.
I love you, buddy.
Bye.